And the scene is set once again within the Black Orchid, within the Ventrue boardroom. After Mr. Crown has left, John sits there once again, seeing the large map of New Serum pressed out against the table. The detailed map, once again, filled in with delicate cross-hatching by John's own swift and precise hand, as another area of the city is being claimed to be policed against outside threats. He looks at his watch and sees that it is soon time for another meeting, one of, well, just as much importance perhaps, but not as pleasant. He hears from his ghoul that Miss Brothers is waiting within the waiting area, and he gives Alfred a nod to allow Miss Brothers in.
Chloe will be dressed in her usual garb and let herself be led into the room. And when she sees the prince, she'll give a bow.
Ah, Miss Brothers, it is good to see you. Please, come in.
She'll take her steps forward.
How are we coping?
I'm doing better now that I've gotten some actual sleep.
Yes, terrible business that. An awful ordeal. Although your heroism has not been unseen by the court. But of course I expect you realize why you have been brought in.
I'm pretty sure you want to know what happened. My side of the story and what I've seen.
Indeed, but before we get to that, Miss Brothers, I do apologize, but I will have to check that you have not been tampered with.
Laird's already done so, but you may if you must.
This will only take a moment, and as much as I trust Mr. Brehon, it is always best to double-check these things.
Yes.
If you would take a seat, and one of the ghouls pulls out one of the seats to sit across from the prince.
She'll take a seat.
He'll straighten up his shoulders, fold away his glasses neatly, take position, and then start staring at her. He will begin to work his will within her mind, searching through her memories, taking her into a small, almost like hypnotism, a place in which she is in trance, simply seeing nothing but his eyes, as he goes through the events of her memories, from the Giovanni all the way up, to reveal any discrepancies, any blanks of memory, any holes to the puzzle. I will roll just in case I botch. What is your willpower at the current point, Miss Brothers?
Should have had this out already. I believe it's still at like 4 or 5.
Excellent. I believe... Oh! Oh, dearie me.
That is a beautiful roll.
That is a beautiful roll. So
Holy
1, 2, 3,
crap.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8 successes. John goes through every single parcel of memory, every detail, every colour, every sensation of touch and feeling, every nuance and tone of voice in which she heard, and sees nothing.
If anything, you see a lot of damage going to a TV.
And finally, Miss Brothers, it seems that your memory has not been kept with, but a small little trick about Dominate is that only one command can ever be issued to the lower levels.
Mm-hmm.
As such, it can be used as a sleeper agent. A keyword may be spoken and you would go to life. This is something that I cannot usually detect with memories. But one thing a Dominate user of higher strength can do is implant a different command. And if their strength is more than the original odometers, it pushes the command out.
Okay.
I would like you to tap your foot 3 times.
She'll do so.
Well, no, I'm going to dominate you to tap your foot 3 times.
Oh, okay.
So, using mesmerize. So basically, if I get more successes than the person who did it beforehand, then that mesmerize order takes precedence.
Okay, and it's 5 willpower.
5 willpower, certainly, but with enchanting voice, for I am very enchanting. It'll only be DC 3. Not as good, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes. Unless they got 7 successes or more, then that command is any commands apart from tapping your foot.
Tapping the foot.
Excellent. Well, it seems that the Giovanni have kept their word.
For the most part, from what I remember, I was left alone.
I see. Did they speak to you at all? Did they interrogate you?
Only in the car.
Did you get a good view of any of the Giovanni?
I saw the kind that they had there that had the guns trained on us. John St. John, the walking tank, 7'4". He wasn't masked at all, but the rake was. I didn't get a look at him at all.
Who's this Rake character?
He showed up after John St. John was already trying to bust down the door. And Laird was trying to reason with him, as you probably saw in there. But he was quite upset. And as soon as I kind of stepped out, he toned down a little bit and gave the word that I wouldn't be harmed unless otherwise.
I see. John takes out a pen. He's already sifted through the memories of Miss Chloe, so he has quite a good visual description of the gentleman anyway. But he goes through the motions. The men kind that they used, if you could describe them in detail, any mutations that might happen, any distinguishing marks.
She'll give the descriptions that she's seen out of character. John St. John didn't, or Aaron didn't mention that they had any distinguishing marks. That they just had guns.
Yeah, well, they're sort of NPCs though. But they're probably people with records that the police can arrest if need be.
If anything, I can run the names or the faces with my contacts in the police.
He stops for a moment. You have contacts in the police, brothers?
I do.
Would you care to tell me exactly where your influence lies within the police?
I have a detective and... oh my gosh. The detective is Denozo. There's a cop, Greenlee, and another one, and I can't remember his name for the life of me. It's written down somewhere in my apartment. Out of character, I can't remember the name.
It's fine. Well, that's very interesting, Miss Brothers. I also have ties with the police.
Oh.
Obviously, No, don't be foolish. It is a wise choice to have such individuals. I would actually ask you to further that influence. In case my contacts can't get through to what I need, I always like to make sure that other kindred will be able to pick up the slack. The police force, of course, is a very useful tool and essential for keeping the masquerade. If any of your contacts dig up any tasty information, I would be very glad to purchase that information for boots. Wonderful. Well, Miss Brothers, you have gone through quite an ordeal, and you have saved perhaps the life or at least the sanity of one of your fellow harpies. It will be remiss of me not to reward such endeavour, since you have shown valour in the face of adversity against the enemies of the Camarilla. You may consider yourself of increased status, as of now,
Okay.
and if there's anything you wish of me, you may simply ask. But my ammunition is going to be limited to this evening, so if you want anything specific, I would ask now before my mood changes.
Mortimer is living with me for right now. He doesn't feel safe at his apartment alone. Us harpies, since the incident, we're trying to make sure that there's at least someone else there. And until I'm not a fan of ghouls. I think they're just another attachment to me that somebody can use against me. I agreed to allow Mortimer to stay with me. I'm trying to help him with his nightmares that he has. And he likes the silk and satin, I believe. And I believe I favored that just as much the night we all met.
It's just a matter of blood, it's fine, but if you wish for Mr. Fitzgerald to perhaps have a little bit more professional help, I could see to it, see if there's any particular scarring that could be forgotten about.
I want to try to help him without having to use any mind-altering abilities.
As you wish.
I mean, maybe I don't want dominate used on him, but maybe like mesmerize to put him in that trance to see what exactly is he seeing, what exactly is he facing.
If you want that sort of information, you'd probably be better looking for a higher level specs user. I can go into his mind, and I can certainly make sure that his memories key up, perhaps even making a wall around those that disturb him. But if you wish to know the full root of the problem, I suspect a high specs user will be more.
Okay. Because since the incident, it has got me thinking that I need to make sure that my fellow harpies can stand up for themselves, and we hardly get any contact from the gangrel harpy Darkstone.
You've always been an elusive one, even when I was Master of Harpies.
I want to help train my fellow harpies, and I'm noticing the things that I can possibly break through to get them their confidence to be able to learn. And with Morty, it's the nightmares. That is the number one thing that's possibly holding him back. He says he wants to learn, but it's always, his nights are always judged by those nightmares.
I see. So what is exactly your request, Miss Brothers?
I was just asking, you already answered the question pretty much with the Auspex user. I was just furthering the details.
If you want further security to your haven, I can arrange that.
I live in Washington Square Park. I'm in one of the condominiums. I don't know how the security would help with that since it's two different houses in one.
Entirely up to you, but alarm systems, reinforced doors, escape hatches, all of these can be modified. Weapons.
Probably some reinforced window shutters, just so he doesn't break out of a window like he did at the Malkavian Manor.
No worries. John pulls out his checkbook. Go to Dragonstone. We can post it to Dragonstone offices. I present them this. It's a blank check for security to your house. Now, you see I've written on the back that it is only for the attended address. Anything you need for security, Dragonstone will provide.
Okay. I also, it's not a request, I also am just seeking advice. My wardship with the Tremere.
Oh, yeah.
I know that when the night that I agreed to be a harpy, you said that it was done. Capiche. Finite. I don't know if they know this, and I'm trying to find a way to tell them because they were the ones that gave me that apartment.
Well, it's up to you. You may continue to seek favor and mentorship with the Tremere, or you may strike out on your own. You may petition the court to use of the trust fund to purchase your new haven.
Okay.
It is your fate, my dear. It is not for me to tell you which way you should go. There are benefits on both sides.
Okay. No, that was perfect. It was just a matter of the haven issue, like the options that would be open to me.
No, this is why the trust fund is available. It's to help our kindred to establish themselves and become productive members of the Camarilla. I want the city to be able to give back as much as it takes, rather than have our poor neonates resort to desperate measures in order to make ends meet. But saying this, the clan has not contributed. I would like that to be rectified. The previous month... No, carry on, please.
I've been hearing that we're not doing that well with status, and I've just been very busy with the harpy business. But I will move that message along to my permission.
Exactly. I do this for you, Miss Brothers, because you have been a competent and useful harpy, and you have shown yourself loyal to the Camarilla. But if the Bruges continue to set themselves apart, then I'm afraid that the trust fund will have to be denied to them.
Okay.
Speaking of which, and he gestures towards the map on the table, I am currently parceling out domains for each of the clans for reward for good service and to make sure that our defences are shored up in case of suburban incursion. As you can see, the dark shaded areas have areas that have already been claimed by other clans. I've spoken to four of 7 Primogen at the moment. Where do you think Clan Bruja can officially and effectively police and control in this city?
Sorry, let me just pull up the map really quick. There it is. I talked to Sid Miles. He's a friend of Devin Creed also while he was in torpor. And he was talking about Chinatown.
Chinatown is a very small blot on the city.
I know.
And one I believe the Bruja already claim. Do you not believe that you can expand?
I believe that we need to expand to challenge ourselves. That we're just going to keep on going down and down into status unless we take it upon ourselves to challenge ourselves with responsibility. So I do believe that we should expand. My main thing is that I'm not a very good real estate agent when looking at where we would thrive in. But I can pass along the message again to my Primogen that you are parceling out domain right now.
Please. I would like to see the Bruja rise in prominence. They have taken too much of a back seat, and they are exceedingly useful. Tell your Primogen that the current area I'm looking at is a shared domain between the Ventru and the Bruja, well, like we used to have in the docks. It was always understood that the workers, the unions, the men who do the actual work, the labourers and such, would belong to the Bruja, whereas the officers and the management was dealt with by the Ventru. I
Okay.
would like to see those two clans working hand in hand. The docks is a very perilous area and place that needs to be policed thoroughly.
I heard there was a lot of fighting going over the docks, that everybody wants the docks.
Really?
I don't. It was by multiple amount of people just saying, well, the docks are being fought over, or they belong strictly to the Ventru. I can help with the docks. I'll see what I can do with getting influence in the docks.
Perfect. I'd rather see a spirit of cooperation between our two clans. Historically, we have always been at each other's throats, but I believe if we work hand in hand, we become much stronger than the sum of our parts. Do feel free to pass this message on. If your clan feels that they prefer to expand in other areas, I'm always willing to listen. Or if they wish to help in this endeavour, then we can set up meetings between yourselves and Mr. Crown over a mutually beneficial arrangement.
I'm willing to work together with the docks. I'm sure I can convince my Primogen as well.
Excellent. And the prince takes out an artistic pencil. He puts it in the electric sharpener, which buzzes for a moment. And then he lightly shades the docks, the northern side, and then simply puts a question mark over it.
Okay.
Now, unless there is anything you require or wish to ask me, Miss Brothers.
Not really. Is there anything else you wish to know about the abduction, well, or the fight prior, or anything else?
I have received quite detailed reports already, but unless there is a particular amount of, or a particular detail you feel is prevalent.
I don't think so. Mostly it's just protection from the Giovanni. The Harpies feel that they are low-hanging fruit and that will be hunted down again, or we will be sorted out.
How the Giovanni react next is going to be very interesting. It will set about the precedent for the rest of the next few months. If they are foolish enough to strike back, then they're signing their own death warrant. Understand?
And
Sorry. Carry
continue.
on. No.
One main concern that also was brought up to the Harpy meeting we had the other night, we were wondering where the hounds were. The sheriff's hounds.
Yes. A question I will be asking the sheriff as soon as I can get hold of him.
We all agree that, sorry.
No. What do you all agree on?
We all agree, for the most part, that with your permission, we would like to also take on the position of hounds until the sheriff finds others.
I think that's a capital idea. Let me speak to the sheriff first and get his blessing. In the meantime, take this time to train yourselves and your fellow harpies.
Oh, I plan on it.
Stand, Miss Brothers. Steps have already been taken. I will not let this happen again.
Okay.
I hope you do understand why I had to do what I did.
She'll uh she'll remember the conversation with her and the rake. Uh I don't know if you went that far into the memories, but he mentioned like there's always one more seat in the Giovanni clan for someone who's been denied action from the prince to be rescued or something like that.
You do realize that if I had responded to their kidnapping, it would set a precedent. It means that they think that that plan works, that they will do it again and again because it's the way to get to me. By ignoring the situation, it shows that their tactic was useless, so they won't do it again. I had every intention of saving you, if it came to that, just not officially. There is a reason why I have scourges.
No, it was understandable. The reason why I took Morty's place and I stepped in front of Laird and Megan is because I knew I'd probably be able to take more of a beating than them. Which is why I plan on training all of them, including the Tremere Harpy James. As I told Mortimer, I see the Harpies as a new family after losing mine at such a young age, and I will be damned if I lose them that easily again.
You can see that he's not. There's actually like a sort of sparkle of recognition in the prince there, and a sign of he's almost like fatherly, sort of smiling because he remembers when he was in the Harpies, and that's exactly the sort of bond they all shared and still do to a certain extent. It's nice to see history repeat itself.
So I plan on training all of them and even teach Laird how to, shut his mouth and make a hit. Because sometimes it needs to be done.
If you accomplish that, then you truly are a miracle worker, Miss Brothers.
I'll hold you to that.
I can do nothing but heartily support you in this action.
Okay.
Continue to keep impressing me, Miss Brothers.
I will do so.
And good evening to you.
Good evening, Prince. She'll stand up and bow again before probably being escorted out, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And as she leaves, one of the ghouls puts into her hand a small sort of carry case of 4 wine bottles, which are 4 bottles of silver satin.
Okay. She'll say thank you and continue to her car.
The prince once again steeples his fingers and looks over the map of the city. We'll end the scene there.